I suggest at this time you listen, because nobody wants another war or strike in Syria or anywhere else. Bring our brothers and sisters home. I am truly disgusted that you people are my leaders.
Welcome to the Rage Against the Regime podcast, where the status quo gets taken to task. Call in or text your comments to 256-344-RATR. That's 256-344-7287.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rage Against the Regime, and I'm your host, Bobby Who's the Man. Boy, do we have a lot to get to today. Oh, my blood is just completely boiling. You know, the main topic that I want to talk about, or at least that I want to start off with, is the releasing of the POW back to the United States. And, you know, there's a lot of rumors going around about him right now that, you know, that he was actually a deserter, that he's a traitor, that, you know, whatever the case may be. Okay, you know, I don't know, so I can't really tell you too much about that until I get some more information. I'm not really even going to talk about that. The thing that I want to talk about the most is the first order of business is we do not make deals with terrorists. Every president of the United States has said it for years and years and years. We do not make deals with terrorists. Well, what did we just do? We just made a deal to get the only prisoner of war that we have, that I guess that's out there right now. To get him back, we release five of the worst terrorists alive. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if you don't see the big picture here, then you people do not have a clue. 5 terrorists, 5 of the worst terrorists alive. They're probably planning their next attack right now. Okay? Now, it is unbelievable that we are allowing this president to do the things that he's doing. And you know what? There's nothing that we're doing about it. For him to have released those people, I'm not even going to call them people, I'm going to say those animals. For him to have released those 5 animals for one POW, okay, is a treasonous act. And I'm calling you out about it, Obama. It's a treasonous act. You let go 5 of the worst terrorists and the worst people to be walking the face of the earth and the things that they did to our country, and you're going to let those 5 fuckheads, I don't usually swear on here, but I'm super pissed off, you let 5 of those pieces of crap go for one POW. Now, am I glad that the prisoner of war is released? Yeah, okay, I'm happy that Bo is home, okay? But all the things that are going on around about him right now are not very good either, okay? They're saying he's a deserter. They're saying that he's a traitor. They're saying that he took off on his company or his battalion. You know, I like I said, I don't know so much about that, but I do know one thing. This is unheard of, okay? Any president, go back, I don't care, go back 20, go back 30 years. Every one of our presidents has always said, we will not make any deals with a terrorist or any terrorist. And it really, you know, it boils my blood right now. How do you people feel about that? Are you happy that we let go 5 of the worst people possible? I mean, I just don't get it. You people need to wake up. Open up your eyes. If you don't see that this guy is our enemy, then you're not looking with the right glasses on. Okay? If you cannot see what the hell is going on, people, please put on some glasses. Do something. Open up your eyes. Wake up. I mean, I'm going to give you all the catchphrases, but you know, seriously though, I mean, wow. You know, I I really don't know what to say about it. I mean, I feel bad for the family, you know, in the POW, you know, when I'm reading about it, they say the father says he can't speak English anymore, or, you know, he's speaking a little bit of English and he's speaking, you know, whatever language, and, you know, and when he got on to, you know, when the special forces came and got him, you know, he was asking them, are you SF? Are you SF? Yeah. You know, we're special forces. We're here to get you and all that. You know, it's a heartfelt story. But I mean, come on. 5 of the worst people to walk the face of the earth. These guys are guilty. They know they're guilty. Everyone knows they're guilty. And they are laughing about it. Okay? They have videos of these guys celebrating that they got let go. I mean, unless we, you know, unless there's something that we don't know, you know, maybe Obama, you know, maybe he worked out a deal with his, you know, with his buddies, his Muslim brothers in the Muslim Brotherhood, and maybe he said, hey, you know what, I'm going to let these guys go back. You guys relax for a little while, send the POW home. We're going to make it look really good. We're going to make it feel heartfelt, and, you know, and everybody's going to want to do a made-for-TV movie and all that. It's going to be awesome. Just kick back and enjoy the ride. And then, you know what? Then you guys do what you want to do. Who knows? I mean, do I know that? No. I would hope to think that I'm wrong. I mean, you know what? You know, sometimes I really don't know what to think, but I'm going to tell you one thing that I think I do know a lot about. We're going to switch gears now. We're going to stay on Obama. We're going to talk about Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Sheriff Joe Arpaio has released information and paperwork saying that he's got enough information on Obama right now to have him impeached. He did an interview. He was on TV. He talked about it and said that the cold case posse and him have enough information right now to impeach Obama. But nobody will step up to the plate except for him. Him and the cold case posse, who did it all for free. They did not get paid for it. They did not get paid on their time or whatever. They donated their time to look into this. Sheriff Arpaio is the only sheriff in America right now that is trying to go after Obama and come up with enough information to impeach him. He says that he's got enough. This is going to get really, really interesting, especially after, you know, Operation American Spring, that got kicked off and got started. You know, Sheriff Joe a long time ago said that, you know, he had information and everything else, and, you know, they say that they didn't have enough or whatever, and like Sheriff Joe said in the interview, he goes, yeah, everybody thinks that we gave up and let it go, but no. We've been doing our homework, and we've been looking even more into it, and we have more information. So, I mean, I want you guys to respond to me. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Sheriff Joe's got enough information and that he's going to be able to finally be the person to set the hook and finally reel the bastard in? I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to think that, you know, that he is the one and that it's finally true and everything else. Because, I mean, I don't know if you guys really know the truth about sheriffs and everything, but they really, really are the only true law enforcement in the world, or in the United States. I was going to say in the world. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I mean, I don't know very much about other countries about law enforcement, but in the United States, sheriffs were the very first to have the right to, you know, arrest and everything else. They were the law enforcement, them and marshals. Well, and coroners. Coroners have the right to arrest also, and they're also known, you know, for law enforcement, even though you never hear about a coroner and hear about them arresting people. But Sheriff Joe says that he's got enough information. So, you know, this is going to get really, really interesting coming up here pretty soon, because he says he wants to go forward with it. But he needs to find somebody to back him. He needs to find a group. And he said that he let it be known to Oath Keepers and to other sheriffs and everything else, the information that he has, and nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Mainstream media, the propaganda as I call them, they don't want to touch it. They're not going to go nowhere near that story. Okay, he did an interview on, I don't even know who the guy was that he did the interview with. I mean, to be honest with you, and I don't think anybody else really does either. It was probably some, local Arizona news, which, hey, you know what? I really appreciate them, even covering the story. But let's be real here. If nobody's going to back Sheriff Joe, how do we go about bringing Obama down? We were talking about this last week. Over 100 things that he can be held for treason. 100. Now, that's not me making up numbers or anything. That's what the numbers are. Over 100 things that Obama has done that he could have been, impeached for. So this one really takes the cake. They say that there was over 20 different writings and stuff on his birth certificate and 20 different forged pieces, or I don't know what the correct term is, but over 20 different, I guess, signatures or whatever, 20 different forged signatures on the documents. Wow. Going all the way back to Hawaii. Man, oh man, oh man. So I really would like to get the feedback from all of you. Come on to our Facebook page or Twitter or on YouTube or call me. Do something. Give me some feedback. What do you think it's going to take to get Sheriff Joe's information to be able to get him impeached? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Obama has another 2 years to go. Year and whatever, almost 2 years. I mean, can you put up with another 2 years of this? The lies and all the things that's going on right now? Did you guys see that the new CIA director is a Muslim? And he wouldn't put his hand on the Bible when he was being sworn in. I mean, what is this? The Muslim Brotherhood is taking over? A CIA director is Muslim, wouldn't put his hand on the Bible to be sworn in. Is that not like the biggest kick in the teeth? I mean, is that not kicking dirt on us or what? I mean, isn't that a stature? I mean, don't you have to put your hand on a Bible to be sworn into anything? That's how we do it here in America, sir. But, I mean, when the secret got out, and he let it be known, who his CIA director was going to be, and come to find out it's this guy, and that, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. You people, I don't have to tell you this. You guys know this. We are in trouble. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is I would like to talk about the Bilderberg Group, okay? And a lot of information has come out about the Bilderberg Group, and for the first time ever in history, one of the people that were at the meetings came outside and talked to media. I'll let you guys hear the clip.
We're about to go to our reporters from Bilderberg 2014. They have a lot of breaking news, a whole bunch of exclusive videos that really show the illegality that's going on. We need to get a report out on this, not just the photos and the video, because it's very newsworthy. That Ed Balls, the shadow chancellor, and in England, it's a complex title, but he's the deputy prime minister is what it is. He's like the vice president. Basically, the vice president of England is creeping into the meeting and having to show his credentials to the moron security guard people that don't know who he is, because it's not enough that he has a B around his neck and has the lanyard. They want to check it. And so they're sitting there talking to this guy, and he's got all these official files in his hands, clearly going in to set policy. And under multiple laws in England, it's illegal. And then we've got all our different acts here that make it illegal as well. Hillary Clinton got fined, $400,000 back in the 90s for violating the Logan Act. And they have similar laws there. But in England, it's in the newspapers that it looks like what he's doing is illegal. So a real investigation's heating up. We're going to talk about that. But I mean, what does he have to do? Have like MI6 files officially? I mean, he's going in with all these files. They're in there setting policy, ladies and gentlemen, with the heads of corporations that give them political donations. This is outrageous. We're showing that footage right now of Balls doing all this. And again, there's a shot where he's got all the different files up against his chest. We'll show that in a moment. And I guess that's not even a security guard. That's the police. But we're going to also be talking again to Paul Watson coming up at the bottom of the next hour. But I tell you, the bureaucracy of them trying to put all of us collectively in a control grid prison to protect themselves shows how they're now in a prison as well of their own making. See, what you try to do to somebody else generally ends up happening to you. And the globalists have knowledge of how to dominate. They do not have long-term wisdom of, gee, is this good for my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, what I'm doing to humanity? Well, yes, I'm making my house powerful and great and big. Yeah, but I look at your kids. They're all basically on average messes. I mean, you are destroying your genetic line. You are committing a crime against your name. It's just not good. And the argument is, well, I'm not really a bad person. I'm in a larger corrupt system, and I work within it to try to do better at certain points. But you never do. I'm not saying everybody at Bilderberg is evil. I'm not even saying they run the whole world. They are a key organization that admits they set up the plan for the European Union, and that's been declassified. BBC in the 90s reported that and interviewed the head of the Bilderberg Group at the time, Lord Healy. And they were in, again, the German newspapers 2 weeks ago bragging that they're the most powerful. I don't know. According to Helmut Schmidt in his book, Men in Power is a Political Retrospective, German Chancellor, he said it was probably the most powerful, along with Trilateral Commission and Bohemian Grove. And he went on to say, we actually get a lot done at Bohemian Grove, and it's my favorite place. Yeah, because they have sex by night and party and get drunk and make decisions by day. And it is a beautiful area in Northern California, one of the prettiest places on the planet. But the issue is, we don't like you running our lives and then saying you're not. See, once we force them to admit they are making a lot of the decisions, then we have to say, what are those decisions? Oh, you didn't have a right to make those decisions. And their main decision, and then we're going to our reporters, is on record, and they've already done this in countless third world and old world countries, and are now moving to first world countries, like Spain, like Italy, like Germany, like the United States, like the UK, Ireland, Scotland, England. They are taking the pension funds of private pensioners. It's their money. They've already paid taxes on it on average 4 times. And they are taking them in increments using the same systems worldwide and getting so arrogant, they're now taking money directly out of people's bank accounts in Cyprus and other places, and seizing of the hundreds of Greek islands. There's hundreds. Oh, you owe me $3 billion. I want this island that's valued at $4 billion. And they get this giant Greek island. That was in the Daily Mail last year and the Associated Press and everywhere else. And then it turned out that particular billionaire, he got the government to sign on to cover his derivatives, too big to fail, and then turned around and went, see, now you owe me money. You bail them out. And then, but now your money's been given to them, and now they're the executor and the manager. And then they go, you know what? We want to appoint the new leader of Greece, and we're going to appoint the leader of Spain. They're moving towards that more and more. And we're going to appoint the leader of Italy. They actually did that. And it's just, oh, we now have technocrats appointed, and it's the Bilderberg Group. Bilderberg and Goldman Sachs members, revolving door, are now being appointed. They were appointing people in Iceland to run things, but the Icelanders basically rioted and refused to work and do stuff for 1 year until they got a new government, and then they started arresting the finance ministers and found out, guess what, 93% of the money that was owed was not theirs. It was bankers in England signing them on to their debts and telling 400,000 hardworking Vikings in Iceland, who were all out there with their bicycles and their kids and all friendly and so nice and good, until they were going to lose everything. And they finally became humans again, because they were always humans, nice, sweet Vikings. But then they started acting more like mean Vikings, and now they've got their country back. See, the veneer of civilization wipes off very quickly. That's why they want police states and checkpoints and nanny states, not because they want to protect you. I was downtown, and I'm going to the guest. I was downtown, I guess it was Sunday, it was Sunday. Or was it Monday? Was it the holiday? I was visiting some friends, and I was out on their balcony. We were barbecuing. And a big storm, beautiful storms blow in, and we're looking at it from, 20 stories up. And these beautiful storms blow in over Lake Austin, over the river, and you can see the sun in the distance. It's one of those stormy days where you can see 30 miles in all directions. And there was no tornado. I went in and looked because the police were acting crazy. They were running around on speedboats saying, get off the lake, emergency, emergency, and making kayakers get off and all the rest of this for a rainstorm that was coming in. So I thought, is there a tornado? And I ran and looked on my buddy's computer. Oh, there's no tornado coming. And went back out, was checking on my iPhone. And then we went back in, the storm blew through, ate some barbecue, and walked back out, and it's just barely raining. And there are police running around in Lake Austin and at the parks and down by their building on loudspeakers saying, don't come outside. It's dangerous. Dangerous weather conditions. I mean, folks, they're now saying don't go outside when it's raining. And in England, they arrest you if you say the word homosexual or girl because someone said it was hurtful. And Michelle Obama's telling us what to eat now. And they are totally destroying the culture, destroying any form of debate. There's a big video up on Drudge right now. It's also on Infowars.com with a big comedian and writer, coming out and saying, there's a gay mafia. And if you even make a joke, everybody should be fair game. You are destroyed and shut down. And that's pretty authoritarian. That's pretty scary. In fact, there's the headline, Adam Carolla on gay mafia. And me, I've never bashed, quote, gays, but if I want to use the scientific term, heterosexual, homosexual, you want to have me arrested? I mean, you're an authoritarian. I don't like you. And not because of your sexual preference, but because you are a control freak trying to use our goodwill to enslave us and end free speech. And I don't like that. And I'll start, really coming after people if they want to try to sit there and dictate everything because you're an authoritarian being used by the globalist authoritarians with political correctness to silence any form of dissent or free speech. And I don't want to live in North Korea. Now, while we're all busy debating the next revolution, transgender, because they've normalized everything else now, just as a political fighting point, then it'll be bestiality, on and on and on. Just to create a fight is the whole issue. There's so much breaking Bilderberg news at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. We need some big master coverage article that has the right headline so it captures people's attention, because this is sensational information for liberty and exposing tyranny, but there's just so much of it, it's all just kind of blurbed out. We've got Schmidt caught on video and photos. We've got him, the head of Google. We've got them with, files falling out, clearly doing official business that needs to be investigated. There's already criminal investigations in England. This puts it over the top. Balls with official files going in, claiming they're just having impromptu cocktail parties. Clearly they're setting policy. We need articles on that. They're deciding the future of NSA spying worldwide. That's come out in their agenda. That should be investigated. Policies being set. That's really the angle that should be looked at here. And their anti-human move to cut the pension funds and not give vets care and to, quote, cut entitlements. Yeah, they can cut entitlements. How about their banker bailouts first? You see? These are the people setting the agenda. And we've got bombshell HD video and photos. We need to get it all condensed and boiled down into one big article dealing with official business being set, and there needs to be a serious investigation, and the people need to push for it. That's what the Independent and others are saying. We're the Bilderberg experts. We need the big articles on this and the videos on this, boiling it all together. We fund this operation selling incredibly high-quality stainless steel, gravity-fed filters that cut out the glyphosates and fluoride and annihilate the competition. And my point is there's just no reason to buy any other water filter but ProPure with a G 2.0. For the price, it's the same price as the competitor or lower with 10% off promo code WATER. And It'll help you and your family at a massive level, and it'll fund this vicious truth-telling, open bias towards truth, open pro-human, pro-God, pro-family, pro-honor, and chivalry. We need your support, and you get a great product at the same time. InfoWarsStore.com. We only got a few thousand test-run bottles of the Super Feminine Vitality. It's almost sold out. It will be sold out by next week. And it will probably take 3 weeks to a month to get more of it. And we're having even bigger responses with women's energy, workout, libido with this than men have with Super Male. And Super Male had a bigger effect on women, and we didn't know why. I guess women are more sensitive to these herbs. Now with the feminine one for women, it's even crazier from what we've seen. Find out for yourself, regardless you're supporting the transmission. If you want it, it's going to sell out. Super Female Vitality, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. When it sells out, there's still the Super Male. We have plenty of that in stock. And then we have the new X2, ladies and gentlemen. That is the purple, original, millions of years old iodine crystals from 7,000 to 12,000 feet. We're the only ones that have it. And it turns bright purple on paper. All other iodines turn black. And we've talked to scientists. That's because they're bound. It's not real nascent. The reason this is so special is it goes right into your blood. Survival Shield X2, we have plenty of it. But it may still sell out in about 2 weeks. I don't know how soon we can get more. If you want to stock up on it and it supports the broadcast, nobody's got iodine like this. X2. Bilderberg didn't want us to know they existed because then we'd start looking into them. I know I'm stating the obvious. So we've been looking into them. Now we force the public to know they exist. That raises the credibility of what they call conspiracy theorists, i.e. people that ask questions. So we're now being heretics and showing that the heretics are actually the good people, telling the truth against the state-run religion of mindlessness and 2 + 2 = 5. And Michelle Obama tells your kids what to eat. I'm rebelling against this. I'm not complying, and I'm decrying it with my First Amendment. A powerful weapon comes before the second. And so I need all the writers and other talk show hosts, if you're hearing me. You want to bring them down, point out Ed Balls. We have the videos of him being confronted by myself and Watson denying he's doing state-run business. Now we have what looks like state-run media files, clearly going in for serious policy meetings. Not to play tiddlywinks, there needs to be an investigation. We list this British law. The independent's already done it. Now we have him showing he's doing official meetings. And then there's a bunch of other issues. And then we can crack these people wide open, but we have to believe and not be pessimist. If you're a pessimist, study came out this week, you're 3 times more likely to have dementia and Alzheimer's. People are in a coma. You're not really living. We have to, all of us, wake up and realize what's happening. We've got a lot of videos coming up with you in the next hour, David Knight. Then Paul Watson joins us at the bottom of the next hour. We're going to walk through it all, but give us an update of what's coming up in the next hour and some of the highlights since we talked to you 24 hours a day, 24 hours yesterday, as you report from Bilderberg 2014.
Well, Alex, they're toasting champagne here, and somebody's just come over to the fence to talk, so we're going to go see what he has to say. Yeah.
It's one of the security people telling you not to put cameras in. Go ahead and talk to him.
In the Netherlands, you always, I think in all countries, you're always busy with little things.
Yeah.
And now we get 3 days of discussing big issues.
Very intense.
That's a Bilderberg Group member. Ask who he is.
Very intense.
Yeah. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Ask him who he is.
Oh, okay. This is Dietrich Sampson, and who are you with?
I'm from the Dutch Labour Party. I'm a politician.
Oh, okay.
But are you here in your formal or informal function?
Well, I'm formal because I'm being a politician, you're 24/7. So there's no way of exiting my role.
So let's say if your prime minister asked you what you were talking about here,
yes,
you would surely tell him everything.
I would.
Could I ask whether the heads of banks such as HSBC, Douglas Flint, is he there in his formal or informal capacity?
Is he there? I'm not sure. You know the list better than I do. It's 106 participants and it's only
Peter Sutherland from Goldman Sachs International.
He's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is he formal or informal? Is he still is he still head of Goldman Sachs International?
Is he?
He still
is.
Okay.
All right. No, I don't know, actually.
So he's a member of British American Business, the lobbying group, which is very keen on
there's here. Let me explain. There's scientists here. There's politicians like me.
Yeah.
There's business people here.
Yeah. So does the lobbyist still It's a lobby.
We got some Skype
Are you being lobbied?
No, but TTIP is a nice discussion. It's a good discussion to have. I mean,
have you had that discussion?
Yeah, well, not here at this moment. Maybe we will have.
Ask him about trying to prop up the euro. We know that's what they're really talking about. Ask him about that.
That's like everybody. I think, like you, we are worried about what happens there. I mean, nobody wants an armed conflict, and it's already happening.
Intelligence sharing discussion?
No.
Ask him about propping up the EU.
Are you talking about propping up
or the day after? I'm not sure.
Are you talking about propping up the euro?
No.
No?
We talked about Europe. We talked about what to do next for Europe.
Oh, my gosh. I hate having to go to break right now. Oh, my goodness. Folks, I told everybody the issue is that they're setting official business inside. We're getting footage of this, so you'll all get to hear it. Major breaking news as the leader of the Labor Party from a major country. All right, we only got him ID'd once. He's behind the Bilderberg fence. He's the leader of a major Labor Party, Dietrich something. We're looking up his name right now. I believe David Knight can interrupt right now. He can hear me down the Skype and recap, and then formally butt in front of the reporters that are there that are asking their questions. They're somewhat good. They're asking about him in official capacity. He admitted he's operating in official capacity. That may mean in his country that's not illegal. I doubt that. When he said we're not trying to prop up the euro, he said no, 9, which shows they are. That's what they're really trying to do. That's their main global takeover system with NATO. I want to ask him some questions. David Knight, can you hear me? It's Dietrich Samsom, and he is the leader, Dutch politician, of the Labour Party. That's the biggest party in the Netherlands. So that guy's very powerful in his country. Let's talk to him. Go ahead, David. David, get some questions in.
You know, who knows? You might be having more. You might be invited back. Let's hope.
He's also the leader of the parliament. He's the Speaker of the House, basically.
Energy. How do they structure it? Do they have the kind of experts on a panel giving presentations?
It's very classical. You could say it's very boring, but it's like normal, like lots of conferences. You have experts on a panel, and then
he's a Greenpeacer. That means carbon taxer, leftist.
Are you an expert for any of these particular panels?
Not this time.
Ask him where he stands on carbon taxes, Knight.
Good, you have to be vocal. You have to
It's okay for that reporter crew to ask some of the questions, but we need to butt in here.
Because there's no media there, you don't have to perform. That's nice. That's the advantage of having no cameras inside. The disadvantage is no transparency. The advantage is that everybody can speak freely and doesn't. You know what happens to?
Do you feel a little worried that when people such as government officials and people like generals?
This has never happened before, folks. What's happening right now?
In front of banks.
At the meeting. I think he's even violating the internal agreement. But they know it's all blown wide open now. Oh, I wish I could ask questions. She's ready. You can ask questions. Carbon taxes. Guarantee you that's on the agenda.
And you know, inside information is kind of quite sensitive. These
speakers are all
so freely in front of the head of
well, they're not speaking completely free. But more free than when there's a camera.
I love it that politicians having frank and free discussion, but not in front of Lazarus or Goldman Sachs or
it's even better. It's even better because
why should they know?
Because we talk as
trends.
No, as politicians, as a politician worried about banks. I talk about the need for banks.
Ask him about LIBOR and carbon taxes. Tell David to do that or put the earpiece in.
To behave.
Can you tell us, have you talked about LIBOR, the LIBOR scandal, or carbon taxes?
No. I think the LIBOR scandal is a good example of banks not behaving.
Yes, in fact.
It's a good example.
I would say so.
I would say so too.
Mark Fagius, who is on the steering committee, actually had to resign from as the CEO of Barclays.
Bring up the Lockheed scandal and Prince Bernhard. That'll hit him hard.
There was a Dutch bank which was very trusted.
Now, the guy who started this, Prince Bernhard, he was caught up in a Lockheed scandal. Yeah. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I know about it, but it was in the 70s. I mean, I read it, but it was before I was born, actually.
They had to.
Well, you know, before you were born, they plotted the euro as well as the European Union.
I think that was after. That was.
We got bad Skype. Just get him one more message. The crew's doing a great job.
I'm not saying you planned it. I'm saying that Bilderberg did. So we believe that there's real policy being crafted here. Maybe not in the discussion groups that you're part of.
I don't think policy is crafted here.
Bilderberg bragged to the German news last week they're the most powerful and they do set policy. Throw it in his face.
It's good for international.
In a German paper just last week, a Bilderberg member said that he felt that this was far more important than Davos, that Davos was just a PR group.
I cannot compare it. I wasn't at Davos, but I think it's not. It's it's a similar type of meeting.
And a former...
All right, David, we're going to break. Grill him. We're going to come back. I want to hear what happens after. Keep grilling. This is a big deal.
Kind of funny, the info that he let out, huh? You know, he was kind of making it seem like, oh, guys, it's no big deal. We've been doing this for a long time. And, you know, we don't let media in because, you know, it would just ruin everything. And, you know, we try to avoid having media with us and, you know, because it gives us a better chance to talk. And I get it. You know, he really did kind of make sense on that. But still, what are you guys talking about in there? What's the agendas? I mean, they've already been leaked out. Why hide it? Doesn't make any sense. You're going to sit there and hide it from us and act like, oh, there's nothing going on in there. Oh, it's a bunch of boring stuff, really. And it's just all the world leaders all together, you know, sitting in a room talking about what we're going to do in the future and probably talking about who the next president's going to be. But we're not going to tell you that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, I actually, I'm going to get off Bilderberg for a few minutes here, probably for the rest of the show because I'm actually getting kind of bored with it. But, you know, I want to go back to the the POW that was released, or I shouldn't say, well, yeah, you could say released. I mean, traded for, whatever the case may be, for 5 of the worst terrorists in the world. Of course, I'm going to make a mockery of it. Did you see this guy's father up on stage at the Rose Garden at the White House? Just, you know, sitting there. He was speaking Muslim like it was nothing, okay? But, you know, he said, I don't speak Muslim. I couldn't tell you what it said. I'm just going by what, you know, all the things that I've read and, you know, in all the videos that I saw and everything. He was saying pretty much like praise Allah and stuff and thank God for Allah or thank Allah for Allah or whatever the hell. And talking, you know, and doing his little thing. And if you look over at Obama's got the biggest smile in the world on his face. He only does it very, very slow. It's not for a very long time, but you can look right over at him. And if you find the right YouTube video, they slow it down for you and they show you how this guy was just smiling. I mean, ooh, that just drives me crazy. You know, can you guys not see it? Do you not see? I mean, if Sheriff Joe was right, and he really does have enough information about Obama that he can actually impeach him, what are we waiting on? And then, you know, for what he did for, you know, releasing the 5 terrorists for the POW, I mean, the Republican House is going nuts right now, saying, hey, you know, that's something that you could be impeached on, and we're coming after you. All these people are all going after Obama for all the right reasons, saying, you know, for all the things that he's been doing, he can be impeached, and he can be. He can be. But is anybody actually going to go after him and do it? You know, it just upsets me that our own government, branches of the military, generals, colonels for that matter, I mean, anybody that has authority, how come they've never stopped him from doing some of the stuff that he's done? How come they allowed him to say, hey, go do this and go do that or whatever? And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and go through everything that, you know, that I'm talking about because, I mean, I know that most of you that are listening can figure it out. But I just don't understand why, you know, why did any of these people allow him to keep doing what he's doing? It doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. Oh, man. So, now to move on to some bigger and better things going on. There's just like a ton of things that are going on in the whole world right now that, you know, I just kind of hope and pray that, something's going to be able to be done, and maybe we're all going to be able to, maybe we're all going to be able to finally say, you know what, we finally marked up a win, or, I'm just hoping that be the case one day, because it's really, really sad to see the way that our country is in the state that we're in right now. It really is. It's terrible. But, forget about all the poverty and all the homeless people. I was actually watching something the other day that kind of surprised me. Canton, Ohio. Okay? When you think Canton, Ohio, what do you think? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Would you think that that it was like considered one of the worst towns in America? I mean, I know I don't really have no right to say anything about anything because I live in Chicago, which is the murder capital of the world. But Canton, Ohio, they say, has the most homeless people per capita out of any town, and they say it's a pretty rough area. I mean, I would never have known that, Canton, Ohio, and, where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, I wouldn't think that that's a bad area. I would think that's a pretty good area. But to go back to the whole thing about Obama and stuff and the impeachment, the Republicans, they're really saying that, they're really pissed off about this. They're really pissed off about this, and that they want to go after him. And, I don't understand what they're waiting on. I really don't. Just for him to be able to make the exchange that he made is something that he could be impeached for. But do you really think that he cares, that Obama cares, what happens or whatever? He doesn't care. He doesn't even pay attention. We have a POW right now sitting in Mexico in a jail cell, or however they got him, held up over there. We have a POW in Mexico that all it would take is for the president to fly over to Mexico and say, hey, you've got one of mine over here, let him go. Okay? We work pretty close to Mexico. We do a lot of dealings with them, and we're helping them out in their drug war or supposed drug war or whatever. And it seems to me that, with us working hand in hand with them, all it would take is one nice little phone call, or even an airplane flight. It's only a couple hours away, or even Air Force One or Marine One or whatever, to go over to Mexico and say, hey, let our POW go. That's it. Let our POW go. Now, do you think that he's actually going to do something like that? Nah. Because if you think that, you're crazy. I don't know why he hasn't done it already. Now, you know what? He might do it as a ploy, or he might do it for the propaganda, mainstream media, as you all know. He may do it for that, just so he can get some brownie points or something and say, oh, you know what? We're gonna go rescue this POW here in Mexico. But what kind of offering do we have for them? We don't have 5 terrorists we can release back to them, do we? God, unbelievable. And, I just know that this country is in a lot of trouble. Now, another news that's being talked about that whole thing is Hillary. They're saying, was Hillary in on it? Did she know anything about the exchange? Was she one of the people that had something to do with us getting him back and making the exchange for the 5 terrorists? And I guess, Hillary's saying, oh, well, she really didn't know anything about it. It was some kind of deal that Obama had worked himself and blah, blah, blah. And no, I don't believe that for a minute. I don't believe Obama does anything without talking to Hillary, to be honest with you. Well, that's going to be the show for today. I got so much more to talk about, but I want to sit and collect my thoughts and everything, and and get it all together and come up with a real good show. And I would really, really love, I know I tell you guys this all the time, and some of you do, I would love to hear feedback from all of you. There's so many ways that you can reach out and get us, okay? We've got our Facebook page, which is Rage Against the Regime Podcast. So that would be facebook.com/Rage Against the Regime Podcast, which is probably the best way to get us. I mean, isn't all social media and stuff like that is probably, always the best way to reach out to anybody to get them. And then we have our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Rage Against the Regime. Wait, here, let me make sure that I got the information right. And I'm sitting here telling you guys information and don't have it all in front of me. There's just so much to know. So much to know all the time. It's like, come on, people, wake up. And it's me, the one that's not awake. So let's see. Like I said, our Facebook page is Rage Against the Regime Podcast. Facebook.com/Rage Against the Regime Podcast. And then we have, excuse me. Then we're on Twitter. It's RATR Podcast. It's RATR. God, you'd think I would be more ready for this. So let's see here. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so I'm striking this. This needs to be cut so I can put in the right information. So it's going to be a 3, 2, 1 countdown. 3, 2, 1, cut. I would like for you guys to reach out to us. Our Facebook page is Rage Against the Regime Podcast. So that would be facebook.com/Rage Against the Regime Podcast. Or you can reach us at YouTube, youtube.com/user/RATR Podcast. Our Gmail is rageagainsttheregime@gmail.com. Or you can call us at 256-344-RATR. I would love to hear feedback, questions, comments, anything. 256-344-RATR. Thanks for listening to us again, and we will have another episode coming up. I'm going to be working on one within the next day or so, and I'm going to try to bring on a very special guest. I'm trying to work on getting Robert Tosh Plumley as one of them. And I have a few other people in mind, but I don't really want to let the cat out of the bag because I don't know that I'm actually going to get them. But thanks for listening to Rage Against the Regime Podcast, and I'm your host, Bobby, the man, and have a great day.
Rage Against the Regime.
I'd like to say to Bo right now, who's having trouble speaking English, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Zayabayem. I'm your father, Bo. The people of Afghanistan, the same. Khalifa al-Thani, the complicated nature of this recovery will never really be comprehended. To each and every single one who affected this in this country, in the service branches, at the State Department, throughout the whole of American government, and around the world at international governments around the world. Thank you so much. We just can't communicate the words this morning when we heard from the President. So we look forward to continuing the recovery of our son, which is going to be a considerable task for our family. And we hope that the media will understand that will keep us very preoccupied in the coming days and weeks as he gets back home to the United States. Thank you all for being here very much.
And even further evidence that this is just a distraction tactic, and for whatever reason they're whipping the media into a frenzy of trying to decide, was he a deserter or is he a hero, is he a traitor? They knew the entire time this is how they see him. And in fact, a senior official confirmed to Fox News that intelligence agencies were investigating Sergeant Bergdahl prior to his capture by the Taliban. They confirmed that the conduct of Bergdahl, both in his final stretch of active duty in Afghanistan and during his time when he was living amongst the Taliban, was thoroughly being investigated by the U.S. intelligence community and is the subject of a major classified file. Indeed, that's exactly what we've been saying was probably the major classified file that Hastings was working on that got him killed. Now, of course, in conveying as much, the Defense Department source confirmed that many within the intelligence community harbor serious outstanding concerns, not only that Bergdahl may have been a deserter, but that he may have been an active collaborator with the enemy. But, you know, this is, of course, all of a sudden a surprise. And so Obama is going to release 5 top Taliban commanders in exchange for this person who has a major classified file. Now, basically, they're admitting that force could have been used to secure Bergdahl. They knew where he was, but they didn't want to risk it because he was a deserter, which is something that they also knew. So why all of a sudden did the administration opt to negotiate with terrorists? A policy that we have had for quite some time. All of a sudden now we are negotiating with terrorists. Of course, we mentioned that could it have something to do with the fact that there was a CIA agent whose cover was inadvertently blown a few weeks ago? Or, of course, did this just happen to occur conveniently to give Obama an opportunity to, you know, give the veterans a win, to say, hey, guys, I'm on your side. Look, here's your soldier that you've been wanting returned. No soldier left behind. Just forget about that VA scandal. You know, if that is the case, because this is something that's obviously the VA scandal is something that's going to affect both sides, the left and the right. If they did this for politics, that is a very dangerous and reckless decision that Obama made, not to mention that it was illegal.